Hello, everybody. I'm going to talk about a very important topic, talking about the safety for every office, facilities, buildings, and for warehouse. Any safety, this is the procedures or mechanism which can help to save lives and help in every organization. First of all, in every office, I'm going to talk about a lock off computer, right? There is new process in when staff is using a computer. So when a staff is using a computer, there should always be a lock of computer. What is lock of computer? It's like a long rope like this. Then you have to tie the computer and use a lock and lock the computer. So this has been a process and to help staffs secure their data and help people to know that someone is there, because most people have been hacked by fraudster or by their colleagues having access to their computers. So basically, we're talking about the safety of computers in every offices, right? So make sure that in every offices there should be lock of tag. Lock of tag that's closing their computers is more necessary, and also every staff should try to put on password to their computers, right? If someone wants to go to the washroom or the restroom, he should also make sure that he puts a lock of tag in his computer, right? So you have to check the screen locks, right? The computers, the servers. If there is no screen lock, then try to know the owners of the computers and inform to them, right? So these computers are very important, right? Why is it necessary to inform them, right? Informing them like the staffs or your colleagues that your computer is open. This is because these computers carry a lot of informations, for the company or your personal data. So we need to protect every information that is there in the computer about yourself. You have to protect it from hacker, right? So basically, I'm talking about all this information because it's necessary for new people in every organization or your home or your business place, for them to aware of the safety of computers, right? To protect their own intellectual property. So you should able to identify the risks. So everyone should able to identify a risk, right? By protecting their business place or their computers. So how to protect the laptops, right, or your computer? First, as I said, you have to make sure that it has a screen lock, right? Then also, whenever you want to go to washroom, you should try also to use the lock, right? So that is another way how you can protect it. So if we are going to describe how we will able to use some of these tools or these keys, right, to make environment safety, right? So in every safety place, people must identify themselves, their names or areas of or work or able to introduce themselves, right? So by doing these things, it will help the safety of every organization. In planning to discuss all the safeties and health hazard that some of us facing in every workplace or homes, right? So most of the hazard or the incidents that some of us facing in every workplace, like for instance, you're talking about drugs abuse, alcohol, also then you're talking about electricity, then explosive, then trip of power socket, and temperature in terms of the weathers, whether it's very hot or cold. Some people are allergic or prone to those ones. So also then also combustive chemicals, also it can be also a hazard to us, right? So like some of these perfumes or some of these gas also it can be affected to human being. So let's say like a cleaner that is housekeeping is cleaning some certain location and use a chemical which supposed to use in the toilet or disinfectant, sometimes it can be allergic to people. So we have to watch on those things, and those are also a safety precaution that can help in every organization and every business place to help people, right? So the like let's say like some of like land transportation, the lift machinery, you have to check the lifts also. In every workplace, the lift also, it can become hazard to someone. Then the step, you know, the staircase also, sometimes people want to use the staircase, so you have to make sure that the staircase is cleared from every like the light is there, then also the way is clear, right? Then also like a slip and trip, right? If there is any water on the floor, that can lead to accidents, right? And can injure someone in every office place or working place also. Then also we're talking about what's other disaster, like in terms of driving, right? So weather also can affect people in terms of it can become hazardous, right? So how we can able to identify some risks in some offices or some in our home, right? So we should able to identify which things that can put us in risks, right? So by identifying those things, it will help us to facing the threat, right? Then I'm going to talk about the introduction to driving safety, right? So in every organization, whether it's personal or your business place, so driving safety also is very necessary. Let's say you have a company drivers, right? Or you are driving a company vehicle, or your father is driving a vehicle. So what are the accident, or what are the hazardous situation that he might is facing? So I talk about fatigue, right? Fatigue, this is a very complicated, and also many people have died because of fatigue. They have gotten an accident because of fatigue. What is fatigue, right? Fatigue sometimes is like you feeling dizzy somehow, you know. So what are the typical like the daytime, right? You have the temperature of human being, right? We can become dizzy. Sometimes you are active in certain points and you become dizzy in certain points, right? So let's say like the peak of the alertness is like morning time, right? Morning time you feel very little bit active. Then in the afternoon, by 12 o'clock, you feel slightly impaired, right? You feel slightly weak. Then by 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, right, you feel very your activeness become reduced, right? So then also like let's say like 9 o'clock, you feel 9 to morning time, you feel very dizzy. So that's why sometimes people in the company, they do not allow people to drive in nighttime, because nighttime is where from 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the morning time is where people feel extremely weak, and most cases of accidents are happening and occurring because of this period. At this period of night, the system change and it's become more dizzy for people. People become more dizzy, and as you can see, sometimes 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning is where most accidents on the way occur, right? So what can hurt us, right? Like fire, right? Fire safety, right? So if we're talking about every organization, what are the safety measures that we need to place? First of all, we have to have an assembly point, right? What is assembly point? In case of fire, right, where people can, the safest place people can sit, where whether there's fire, at least people can take their rescue from there. Also, let's say there is a flood going on, where people can able to escape, at least they will be able to save from that water flood, you understand? So also in every organization or business place, right, you should try to monitor or control the speed of vehicles, right? People that are vehicles that are entering that facility, you should try to control the speeds of the vehicle, right? Because let's say sometimes if the driver are not seeing someone is coming, then it might lead to accident. So in every house or facility or offices, they should control or limit the speeds of drivers, right? Then also we're talking about identifying of fire, right? Fire jackets, or so like where there's a fire jacket, or you need to identify those things in case of fire, what people will do, you understand? Then also talking about hot work, right? So whenever they want to do an hot work in every facility, right, in every organization, right, you have people who want to come out, like contractors, right? They want to use those drilling machine. So those drilling machine they want to use also, they should have permission. They should check those drilling machine if it can cause fire, right? It can irritate people, right? So those are safety precautions also. You should check the PPE, the personal protective element, right? Equipment people can, the contractor, they can use also. Then we're talking about personal safety. Personal safety also is more important, right? When we're talking about personal safety, like for the driver, when you want to park your car, you should always use reverse parking. It's more necessary, right? Then also, what are the things that can really hurt some of us in terms of safety? What are the things can hurt some of us? Let's say like fire, right? If fire occur, it can really hurt us, right? Then let's say like drugs also. Sometimes you take some certain pills, it can be not prescribed by doctor, it can affect our system, right? So these are health and safety precaution. These are things that can hurt us. Then we're talking about alcohol also. Why is alcohol sometimes hurt us? Right? If you take it also, sometimes you will not be in the correct state of mind, especially in a workplace, right? When you're in a workplace, you can take it at your own leisure time, right? But at your workplace, you should stay away from alcohol, because it can change the mindset, right? It can either make you feel high or make you feel weak, so your state of mind is completely changed, so that's why in safety precautions, we mention that alcohol also is a hazard, right? Is can disturb someone mind of reasoning, right? So we're talking about alcohol. Then another point also I will highlight, what could that be the point? Alcohol. Then talking about what other points, like risks, right? All of us can be at risk because of alcohol also. Maybe you are not in correct state of mind, you can hurt anyone, so everyone will be at risk. So we just need to ask, in safety precaution, we just need to ask ourselves some certain questions. So I'm going to mention 7 questions that we need to ask ourselves. First, I do not smoke, right? That is in workplace. I do not smoke. Then also I do exercise 3 to 4 times a week. So at least you try to do exercise 3 to 4 times a week. Then point number 3 also, you have to try to eat healthily, right? You also make sure that you try to like vegetable and other things. Then point number 4 also, you have to have a good blood pressure also, right? You have to check your blood pressure regularly. That is in the workplace, that the some of the things that you need in workplace also. Then also you're looking at point number 5. You say you have to walk, at least you have to walk every day some certain kilometer, at least to help your blood flow, right? Then you have to know the level of your cholesterol, right? So you have to check and work towards that also. Then point number 7 also, you have to try to eat or drink too much of water, right? So why is safety more important also? It depends. On some company, they have so many policies, and also they have so many rules that people should follow, right, for that company to undergo. So those things they need to, every company need to put it into consideration and have their policies that they should follow, their safety policies, right? Then also we're talking about health and safety health and safety, right? Events or reporting, right? So in health and safety reports, we have something we call as the RIR, that is risk identification report, right? So in every areas, even your home, right, you can identify risks and say, oh father, this is what is going on in my house, this is what the light is really fluctuating, this is the problem. So you can able to identify the risk. So that is called RIR, right? In every office, right? So a staff sees something that can put someone at risk, you have to report to the maintenance team. You understand? If you have a safety officer, you have to report, right? Then also you're looking at, I'm going to mention three things, right? Like you have hazardous situation, right? Hazardous situation. Then also you have a near accident, right? Like something that will bring accident, close to accident. Then also you have number 3, which is accident. That is the occurrence. Accident has already occurred. So those are the events and the circumstances, right? Then we're talking about observation intervention. What is observation intervention, right? Observation intervention is when you see something, you observe, you see that this thing can bring risks to someone, this thing can endanger people's life, and you come out and say that no, people should not drive like this. If you are walking, you are using tools, you have to use gloves, right? If you are walking, you are doing something like a welding, you have to use your glasses. So these are called observation intervention, right? Then we're talking about if you see anything like that, you have to report. Then I'm going to talk about lock of tag, right? Hands free, right? So basically, when you want to walk, you have to protect all of your hands, because by using gloves also it's more necessary. Because this basically, if an object want to, like let's say someone want to stab you with knife, the first thing you will try to do is to use your hand to block it. So your hands always is prone on exposed to danger, right? So you sometimes you have to do exercise, like when you want to do any work in your workplace. Let's say like you are an engineer or in your offices, we have lots of exercise that you have to do, at least to loosen up your body. Maybe you are using tools, but because of your hands is very tight, maybe it can lead to accident, right? Then also you have to loosen up at your office place. There are so many exercise that you need to do in office place. Then we're talking about injuries and preventions programs, right? There are lots of injuries and prevention programs that can help in every office place, right? Because any small changes can lead to a greater help, right? So let's say now, if you correct people how to use the lifts, right? How to eat good food, or let's say it depends on the scenario, this can make a big changes in a company, right? If you explain to people that okay, now these things like we have to stay away that anything that can ignite fire. So that means if people try to stay from something that can ignite fire in every company or organization, so at least you have saved many people, right? So we're talking about the human body also, right? In every office place, we need to take this all into considerations about the human body. The human body also is divided into 7 parts, right? What are the 7 parts of the human body? We have the skeleton, right? The skeleton of this body is the most also important, right? You have to make sure that you do exercise for you to keep your bones strong, right? For you to keep your bones strong. Because if your bone is not strong, the skeleton, it can become weak. At the end of the day, become sick. So we are talking about safety precautions here and things that can help us in health and safety. Then number 2, we talk in the human body, we're talking about the joints, right? So there are like 6 parts of the human joints. These like the joints. So you have to try to also do exercise and also try to stay from lots of AC, or try to get a vitamin D most of the time, or calcium. Also food that can give you calcium also can provide vitamin D, so you cannot become deficient, right? Then point number 3, we're talking about the cartilage, right? The cartilage in the human body is like your ankle, right? So these things, your ankle, your cap, so you have to protect all of these things, right? So by doing some of this exercise, or like, you have so many exercise, we call it sometimes insanity training. It can help you to flex in your muscle, because you find out that when you are certain age, right, the way your body used to active, it will not be active like that. So most of the time you get cramp. So you have to know that these are some basic trainings that you have to do. Then you're talking about the ligaments, right? The ligament also is the human parts also. Then we're talking about the muscles, right? The muscles. Also, you have to do a lot of exercise to keep your muscle fit, right? If you are sitting in a one place for a long period of time, try to stand up, right? And even in your offices, you have basic training that you can do in your office. When you are in your office, you can do those things to keep your muscle fit, right? Yeah, because at least, let's say, after 1 hour or 45 minutes, you should stand up from your chair and try to lose, so your blood will start flowing, right? Then also the 6 parts of the body, which is called the nerve sensors, right? The nerve sensors is the motion part of the body, right? So sometimes if you lack of exercise, it's like, let's say, like if someone paralyzed, you understand, so the nerves has already died, so the nerves can no longer send signal to the brain, right? So that is why you see sometimes people who have the strong memory, the strong mental, have their strong brain, right? You can see someone who like deform, or sometimes they will just stand up and walk, because they try to build their memory. The memory in the sense that the nerves send message to the brain that I need to walk. So like the kids, like some of the kids, you see, the nerves will just send message to the brain. Then you see they start crawling. So the nerves also play an important role in the human body also, right? So when the nerves also cannot send signal, that's why you see sometimes people paralyzed also, because there is no signal between the nerves and the brain, because it works with the brain. Then we're talking about the spinal cord. The spine is also more important, is the bone behind. So that's why in safety precaution, we're talking about when you want to carry anything, you should not carry something that is more heavier than you. So you always, when you want to carry something like an heavy water or something, you have to either bend down, or you watch and know that this thing I cannot carry it, or you try to use something like you have the trolley to carry some certain things, right? Then I'm going to talk about why we need this like this PPP or safety precautions, right? Like you have different ways how you can protect yourself in terms of like in work, right? We have something that we call the line of we have 6 control technique. What are the 6 control techniques in this contest, right? In safety, first of all, talk about line of strength, right? Whenever we are using the line of strength is mean that like if you are carrying a ladder, or you want to carry something, right? You carry something, you have to go down and carry it at a easier place, right? So then also we're talking about, I will proceed further in the next page.